Good morning, everybody. Hello. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation Santa Rosa, a progressive and inclusive spiritual community that is dedicated to celebrating life, empowering people, caring for one another, and helping to build a better world. I hope even in these socially distant times you will find a spiritual home with us. If you're new to this faith, visit our website at uusantarosa.org or find us on Facebook, Unitarian Universalist Congregation Santa Rosa. Like and follow us. Great way to stay connected with the ever-increasing number of ways that we are finding to build community and stay connected online. We have neighborhood groups, we have spiritual discussion groups, we have live religious education for children of all ages on Sunday mornings. Adult education classes are in the works as well. If you're able, while you're at our website, to make a donation, we sure do appreciate it. We're continuing to serve meals every Saturday morning to hungry and homeless folks, to tend to our beloved spiritual home, the Glazer Center, and to take care of our staff, and to find new ways to minister to the community in these hurting and strange times. So thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. Those of you who have been watching these services, particularly if you were here last week, know that we are likely to be an online community for the foreseeable future. Indeed, I mentioned that it is most likely that we will not be able to at least worship in a large body for perhaps as much as a year. And I know that was a real blow to just about everybody who heard it. I want to assure you that if anything changes such that we might be able to meet together sooner in person or resume normal activities, we will certainly do that. And somewhere over the course of the next year, we'll find ways for small groups to get together safely. But we're just going to be as cautious as we can to take care of everybody who needs special tending and to our staff. So we're going to embrace this new way of doing things as much as we possibly can. But we will, of course, remain smart and flexible. So hang in there, folks. We'll take it 1 week at a time. I recognize there's a lot of loss in that. I feel it too. And fortunately, we have a wonderful pastor who will take care of us today and help us face the grief and loss that these rough times have brought to so many of us. And her name is Reverend Sue Magidson. She's preached here 3, maybe 4 times in the past. You'll recognize her for sure. Sue serves as spiritual care coordinator and chaplain at San Leandro Hospital, and she's an affiliated minister with the UU congregation in Berkeley. So welcome, Sue, and thank you for ministering to us. I hope this day is a blessing for you and this service is of use. Thank you for being a part of it. See you soon.
morning, UUs of Santa Rosa. I am so glad to be together with you this morning. Though I confess this wasn't exactly what I had in mind when Chris invited me back in January. Who could have imagined this? Still, I'm grateful that technology makes it possible for us to be together, and I welcome you into my home in Berkeley. In a moment, we're going to light our chalice, so if you have a chalice or a candle, I invite you to go get that now so that you can light yours as I light mine. And if you have a second candle handy, please grab that one as well, because we're actually going to light 2 candles this morning. Our chalice lighting words are by the Reverend Alice Amacheka Naisman. In a time of uncertainty, when everything around us is changing constantly, each day new developments, changing guidelines, when the world we live in suddenly seems upside down and topsy-turvy, we light our chalice to remind ourselves of our grounding in our faith. We remember that the flaming chalice came into being as a beacon of hope during World War II, a secret symbol that offered help. In the midst of it all, we wrap ourselves in the warm light of a familiar flame, a reminder of the strength that emerges when we come together in community. This morning, I'd also like to light a memorial candle. Tomorrow, we honor all those who have died while serving in the U.S. military, some of them friends or family of those gathered here. Known and unknown, we honor their ultimate sacrifice, and we mourn their deaths. Because this is an unusual year, I'd also like to honor those who have died recently while fighting a very different type of war, one with an invisible enemy. Those who have died while serving on the front lines of COVID-19, particularly healthcare workers. Because of this highly contagious virus, they can't be memorialized in the usual ways right now. And they too have given their lives for us. May this candle honor them as well.
Locus Iste, Factus est, Locus
Francisco Chronicle reporter Amy Graff asked Bay Area residents, "What do you miss the most right now?" Here are some of their answers.
I just want a hug from a friend. I desperately miss that feeling of everything is going to be okay, that you can only get from an embrace, not from 6 feet away.
I miss the beach, any beach.
I miss school and seeing my friends. I miss my teachers.
I miss going to work. Working from home while trying to homeschool my kids is more chaotic than I could ever have imagined.
I miss sports, baseball, hockey, basketball. I miss playing in my softball league and my bowling league. These are things I'll never take for granted again.
I miss bookstores.
I miss public libraries.
I miss my water aerobics and yoga classes. The sunshine and exercise elevated my mood.
I miss being able to walk around without paranoia in my heart and a mask on my face.
Going anywhere.
Being able to make plans.
Food shopping without fear.
I miss visiting my mom.
I miss playing with my grandchildren.
Being involved in my kids' sports, driving them to practice and games, coaching and all the conversations between coaches, parents, and the kids.
I miss girls' night out with my friends. Takeout is great, and I FaceTime some of my girlfriends, but it just isn't the same.
I miss cafes. They're all open for takeout, but there's nothing like lingering over a hot mug of mocha and people watching or just daydreaming.
I miss haircuts.
I miss a paycheck.
I miss being able to shop and try on things we need.
I miss all of it.
I guess I miss normalcy the most.
There is so much that we are missing right now. What do you miss the most?
Good morning. I'm Jen Freese, your Director of Religious Education, and I'm here with Owen. Owen, we were talking about things that we miss since we've had to stay home during the coronavirus. What are some things that you miss?
I miss my friends, my family that live far away, school, and I also miss going to the park with my family and friends.
Yeah, especially like playing on the playground equipment.
Yeah.
I know we were missing that yesterday when we walked by a park and Rory wanted to play on the playground, the play structure.
Yeah.
And he was really frustrated that he couldn't do that. Yeah, definitely. I know I'm missing, I miss going to our friend's house for pizza on Friday nights. I know, I liked that a lot, right? So I've really missed that, and I've missed going out to nice restaurants with people. I love food, and especially when someone else makes it for me, and we get to sit and relax, and that was always nice too. So, Owen, do you know what grief is?
It's the feeling when you get. It's the feeling that you get when you lose something that you love.
You lose something that you love. Is that like a new feeling for you, or is that something you've felt before?
A new feeling.
It is new for you? Okay. So if you were to describe it, where is that feeling for you in your body?
My heart.
Like just like your heart, your soul, or like is there a place in your body that you feel it? Okay, like in your chest, like this place. What's the feeling like when you feel like you've...
Sadness.
So sadness is a feeling, right? If you were to say there's like a physical, so like how does it feel in your chest when you feel loss?
It gets tense.
It feels tense, like right here. So it feels kind of tense, like a tightening. Okay,
Yeah.
Got it. All right. So it's kind of interesting to think about this way, but when we try to push away our grief, it actually makes it stronger. Like if we're like, right? But I mean, have you wanted to push it away? Yeah, and be like, no, I'm going to focus on the good things, because we do that a lot too, right? Like try to focus on the good things. So we're going to do a little exercise right now, and it's actually going to help us to start to manage that grief so that then we can, you know, just start to live with it a little bit more, and then kind of amazingly that helps it to get a little less. Does that make sense? Yeah? Do you want to try it with me?
Sure.
Okay, cool. So what we're going to do is going to get our bodies relaxed in a sitting position, like we're going to be meditating. And let's see, if you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes, or you can just look at the ground. Okay, so that's up to you. And you can try this too with us at home. And as you do this, I want you just to get comfortable and be noticing your breath. That's always sort of where we start when we do some meditation together. So we're going to notice our breath, breathing in through our nose, nice deep breath, and then out through our mouths. Let's do it again. And now you said that you are feeling that kind of tightness here up in your chest. And if you want to, you can put your hand where you have that feeling. And if you're more comfortable, you can leave your hands down in your lap. But either way, you're going to focus and bring your attention to that place in your body. Just really notice it. Notice how it feels in that one part of your body. You could sort of imagine it like when we do, if there was like a robot scan of light that starts at the top of your body and it goes and it scans your body, it would show up kind of red maybe, or a different color in the part that feels grief. And once you've kind of found that space, the first word you're going to think about is the word soft. And we're going to say the word soft together 3 times as we think about being really soft towards that part of our body. Are you ready? So breathing in. Soft.
Soft.
We'll say it again. Soft.
Soft.
Keep focusing on that part of your body and say it again.
Soft.
And the next word we're going to think about is allow. So as you're breathing in, allow. 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 And then the last thing we're going to do is as we feel that part in our chest, that feeling, we've allowed it to feel that way, we're actually going to send it love. So as we breathe in, feel that space, and then when you breathe out, you're going to say love.
Love.
Feel love for that part. And one last time.
Love.
And what that meditation is called, it's called soften, allow, love. And what we're doing is we're softening about that space in our body. We're allowing ourselves to have that feeling. And then we're sending love to that space. It can even help when you send love to that space to think about someone a lot younger than you that you love, and imagine how you would take care of someone like that. So who's someone who's really little?
My brother.
Your brother is little, and who's even littler?
Tay.
Tay, yeah, Taylor, our little friend Taylor, she's only 2.
Or Brenna.
Or Brenna, yeah. And so what would you think? How would you love Tay or Brenna, our little friends? How do we love them? Do we give them we're really soft and gentle with them,
Yeah.
right?
Not like if I was in a wrestling match with a giant bear.
There you go.
I'd be like, ah, and punching you in the nose.
Oh my gosh. And so sometimes when we have grief, do you feel like you're in a wrestling match with
Yes.
a giant bear? Yeah, and you want to punch it in the nose, right? And instead, and it's so different from what we think we should do, and instead of that, we actually want to, soften, allow, and love our grief like we would Tay or Brenna, right?
Or my brother.
Or your brother.
Even though I wrestle him a
Even
lot.
though sometimes we wrestle with him, yes. Okay. So that's what I want you to practice this week, that we don't need to fight our grief. We can feel it, and then you know what? It opens up space for feeling a lot of happiness. Does that sound like a good plan?
Yep.
All right, let's go ahead and tell everyone who we are.
We are Unitarian Universalists, people of the open minds, the loving hearts, and the helping hands.
One, each person is worthwhile. Two, be kind in all you do. Three, let's help each other grow. Four, keep searching for the true. Five, each person has a say. Six, what for a peaceful world. Seven, the web of life's the way that will bring us back to you.
Folks, as I hope you know, working for justice and actively trying to build a better world is an important part of being a Unitarian Universalist. We have a whole team of people, the advocates for social justice, that help lead us and guide us on that work. Last week, you heard the chair of the advocates, Elaine Wellen, talk about a gift that the group had made on our behalf to the Entrepreneurs of Tomorrow Foundation, which is a wonderful organization that helps fund college careers for disadvantaged people and people of color in particular. And we have given them $1,000. And we meant to hear from Nancy Rogers, their president. Elaine went so far as to introduce her, but a snafu on my part kept you from watching the video. So let's take a few minutes right now just to hear from Nancy Rogers and learn a little bit more about Entrepreneurs of Tomorrow. And next week, we'll be back with more things that you can do to help make a difference.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nancy Rogers, and I'm the president of Entrepreneurs of Tomorrow, a 501(c) nonprofit organization. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Unitarian Church for their generous donation to our nonprofit organization. Our mission is to help the most needed high school or college students. Over the years, we have found out the most needed students are students of color, and specifically African American students. And we also have found out that most of these students are being raised by their grandparents, and the grandparents are on a fixed income, and so therefore can't afford the extra expense that comes along with sending a student to college. Our organization, we know we can't afford to pay for tuitions for the dorm, but we can help with some of the miscellaneous expense. Parents and grandparents have to pay over $10,000 a year for extra expenses such as the computers, the books, the school supplies. And if they live in a dorm, the cost of laundry, bus fares, groceries, etc., just go on and on. And so that's where we come in and try to lend a helping hand, because we don't want no student that works so hard to get into college and drop out because of funds. I remember about a year ago, I ran into a grandmother at the farmer's market, and we was talking, and she seemed depressed and upset. And I said, "What's wrong?" And she said, my granddaughter is home from for the holidays, Christmas holiday, and she may not be able to go back to school for the next semester. And I said, why is that? And she said, it's because I don't have the airfare to send her back, or I don't have the funds for the books for the next semester. So she may have to drop out for this semester. We talked for a while and we exchanged numbers, but I felt so bad. A student has worked so hard to get into college and may have to drop out because of funds. So I came home and I called an emergency meeting with the board and explained to them what happened. And so we voted that day to give this student a $1,000 scholarship. I met with the grandparents and the student the next Saturday and presented that $1,000 scholarship. And I still can see the smile on their face. It was just wonderful. But this is the impact that donations that we, just like the donation we received from the Unitarian Church, this is what, how it helped the students. And the Unitarian Church know as well as we, it takes a village to raise a child. And so as long as we can continue to help these students, to help them to go to school and become whatever they would like to become in college, we're going to do our best, because it takes a village and we part of that village. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Paula Hammet, one of your lay chaplains. Milestones is where we share our joys and sorrows with the congregation, births and birthdays, anniversaries, graduations, and other joyous occasions, as well as more tender events that we hold close to our hearts, deaths, illnesses, injuries, and difficult transitions. There are parts of the service we've all been missing, including lighting our own personal candles to commemorate the significant and tender events in our lives, and hearing the names and shared milestones in the service. So let's light our candles. I'll light one here, and if you'd like, pause the video to light your own candle to remember those you are holding dear to your heart. These are the milestones we share online this week. From Betty Gordon, dear beloved community, on May 22nd, 2020, I will be 91 years old. I feel thankful, grateful, and blessed to have lived such a full and wonderful life. I told my daughter that I didn't need a celebration. Only birthdays ending in an O or a 5 were special. She said, any birthday starting with a 9 is special. Maybe she's right. I love my husband, my 4 daughters and their families, and the wonderful and kind people at UUCSR, especially Rev Chris, who is such an example for us all of how to live a meaningful life. Susan Dickey celebrated her 40th anniversary of working at Hewlett-Packard /Agilent Technologies /Keysight Technologies this past week. She is so grateful to have them as her employer all these years and is happily working hard for them from home. If she's lucky, she says, she will make it another 7 years. From Beth Craven, our boys celebrated their birthdays this past week. Happy 16th birthday to Rowan, and happy 14th to Quinn. We are so proud of the young men they are becoming. Elaine Welland sent, the Advocates for Social Justice wishes to recognize Renee Valentino for her excellent work creating and growing the UUCSR EcoDesk. Before the pandemic, you may remember stopping and learning so much at the EcoDesk after services. Although the EcoDesk cannot continue, both because we are still isolating and the demands of our own life have heightened, the Board of Advocates at its annual retreat wants Renee Valentino and the congregation to know about our deep appreciation for her truly innovative and committed work on the EcoDesk project. Wonderful work, Renee. Clelly Gummer writes, my daughter and her husband moved into their new house in New Hampshire after living in their RV for 2 months. They moved from Arizona. Hopefully, I can visit in the fall. Additional milestones will be shared in the compilation we send out on Sundays in the focus list. If you have something you'd like to share, please send it to laychaplains@uusantarosa.org. Let us know if you want it included here in the online service or just in the weekly compilation and milestones book. If you have a private concern, we'd love to talk with you. Your lay chaplains are Lucia Milburn, Barbara Kieser, Bruce Hope, Tamara Merle, Mary Lil Lee, Al Liner, and me. Rev Chris wrote our closing prayer. We give thanks for the sharing of these milestones, for how they remind us of our shared humanity and our common fate, and inspire our compassion and care. May all our joys be magnified as we delight together in the good news. May all our sorrows be eased as we carry them together in community. May you who are searching for courage, comfort, faith, and hope find what you seek. And may all people grow in wisdom, compassion, and love, that the whole world might live with justice and in peace. Be safe and be well.
This is the time in our service for meditation and prayer. I'll speak some words and then Reverend Chris will ring the bell in your sanctuary as we sit together in silence for 3 blessed minutes. Right now, I invite you to settle in, wiggle around a little, see if you can find a comfortable position. And feel your body being held by your chair or couch or floor or meditation cushion or whatever. Know that gravity is connecting you to this earth. It will not let you go. And now I invite you to focus on your breathing. Blow out the air in your lungs so you can take a full breath. And then blow that out completely so that you can take an even fuller breath. And now breathe normally and rest in the stillness. You may want to close your eyes or soften your gaze. Spirit of life, Spirit of love, here we are, showing up as best we can with all our complexity and contradictions. We have been sheltering in place for over 2 months, and we are weary. We are confused by all the mixed messages. We are fearful of so many things. We are grieving the loss of so much that we love. And we are hopeful. We are grateful. We are counting our blessings. We are finding unexpected gifts. We are so many things, all at the same time. Please help us to make space for it all, to care for ourselves and each other during this challenging time, knowing that we are each hurting in one way or another. We are each a bit more reactive than usual. We are not always our best selves. Please Help us to be forgiving, to be compassionate, to be kind to ourselves and to each other. Please help us to remember that we are all in this together, each with our own gifts and challenges. May we help one another as best we can. Today and every day, please help us to practice love. Amen.
Morning. My name is Eric Fischer, and I'm your worship associate for today. I've been doing this for quite a while, but this is my first post-pandemic recorded reflection. And I normally write something about past experience in my life that relates to the topic of the day, and then bring that to the sanctuary and share it with you. I've done that, but as I've started to work with it, I've found that it feels a little strange. It doesn't quite fit the new reality of where we are with the pandemic and all being separate. So I thought instead that I might actually talk a bit about the loss I feel as a worship associate in working with this process and sharing with you. And, one of the things that I was going to talk about or had written about in my reflection was all of the small or not so small transitions, the rituals and ceremonies of transition that that we all go through and maybe don't hang a lot of importance on or don't notice how important they are until they're gone. And those might be for younger people, high school graduation, college graduation, could be birthday parties, going away, leaving home for the first time to live on your own. When we can't be together, those things suddenly are more important. I think I wanted to talk a bit about what I'm really, my sense of loss, the loss of putting together a service, of arriving at the sanctuary or at church and meeting and all the small pieces and the parts of the service, the sitting up on the by the pulpit and watching from the service parts go by, listening to the music, hearing everyone else speak, feeling your presence. And then as I would get up to share my reflection, feeling your energy, seeing your faces, and just that exchange as the process went by, just that feeling. It feels very awkward right now. It feels, rather than speaking or being with you as a group, feels like right now I am speaking to each one of you. Of course, you're all out there, but this feels like a one-on-one with each of you. And it's very different. And it really wasn't until last service, hearing Chris's scream, an announcement that we wouldn't meet again for a year in person, that it really began to hit me how much I'm missing that, how much that feels like a loss. And I just wanted to express that and trying to figure out a new way to make this feel more personal, more connected. And I'm not quite sure how to do it yet, but like everything, it's all a work in progress. I just wanted to add, at the end of my written reflection, I had talked a bit about that, finding new ways to mark transitions for all of us, young and old, and how we're going to do that. It's going to take some imagination, but we are imaginative. Mm-hmm. And so that, I think, is the message of my reflection is, let's do that. This is my attempt to make this more connected in a very disconnected feeling situation. Thanks.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know we will, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Woyaya, 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 woyaya. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know we will, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Woyaya, 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 woyaya.
Memorial Day weekend often serves as the unofficial threshold between spring and summer. In Connecticut, where I grew up, Memorial Day meant that we could wear white again. Shoes, pants, skirts, until the next threshold of Labor Day, when that clothing would be tucked safely away until the following Memorial Day. Spring is usually such a season of thresholds and milestones. Ends of school years, proms, graduations, weddings. But this spring, virtually all of these events have been canceled, postponed, or radically transformed. Instead of the grounding milestones we were expecting, we find ourselves at sea, betwixt and between, in an extended period of transition accompanied by huge restrictions, conflicting guidelines that seem to change daily, and so many questions. Maybe that's why I've been thinking so much of William Bridges' book, Transitions, a slim self-help book published 40 years ago that sold over 500,000 copies. Bridges was an expert on change and transition, and I've hung on to two kernels from his book. First, every transition contains endings and beginnings, losses and gains, grief and gifts. Even joyful transitions, like welcoming a newborn, come with loss of spontaneity, autonomy, sleep. And unwanted transitions, like the loss of a job, can create space for something new, sometimes something wonderful. Grief and gifts intertwined. Second, Bridges wrote about the confusing nowhere of in-betweenness. I'll say that again. The confusing nowhere of in-betweenness. How the time between an ending and a beginning can be extremely uncomfortable, disorienting, and frightening. One thing has ended and we have no idea what the future will bring. Sound familiar? Collectively, we're in the biggest transition we will likely ever encounter. We've experienced so much loss, as you heard in our opening reading. We have no sense of when things will stabilize, what the new normal will be like, and what will happen between now and then. We don't know where we're going. We can't know where we're going. Predictability and planning have gone out the window. So much is TBD, to be determined. And we're grieving what was so suddenly stripped away. There are so many layers and types of grief right now. There are the large griefs, loss of life, health, jobs, businesses, livelihoods. There's the loss of familiar expected thresholds. There's the loss of worshiping together in person anytime soon, as Chris shared with you last week. Old griefs and fears may resurface, such as loss and fear from the Tubbs fire. And then there are so many smaller griefs, ones we're sometimes embarrassed to mention, like missing girls' night out or going to the library. These smaller griefs are real, and there are a lot of them, and they too deserve acknowledgement. As a chaplain, I can tell you that repressed grief has a way of making itself known, and all these smaller griefs add up to a lot of loss at one time. It's no wonder so many of us are sad, angry, irritable, scattered, or depressed. I'm harping on grief because it can go unspoken, but I want to remind you that Bridges spoke of grief and gifts. Most of us can think of at least one gift from this pandemic, and those gifts can go unspoken as well. The challenge is finding a balance between grief and gratitude, and it can be helpful to intentionally honor both. In addition to grief, there's a lot of fear out there. Fear of getting sick, fear of loved ones getting sick, fear for the economy or our own economy, fear for our mental health, to name but a few. At the hospital where I work, there was so much fear when the pandemic hit the Bay Area that you could feel it the moment you walked in the door. Staff were scared of getting sick or of bringing the virus home to their families. We were preparing for a surge and developing heartbreaking protocols for worst-case scenarios. We didn't have enough personal protective equipment. And best practices were changing daily as the entire world figures things out as we go. With all this anxiety, it's not surprising that we found ourselves a bit irritable, tearful, and reactive. I found myself preaching an informal version of KFC, which is what inspired this sermon. So, what's with the KFC? Is a vegetarian really promoting fried chicken? In a word, No. But as I've been working with staff, I keep coming back to 3 spiritual practices that feel particularly important as the entire world navigates this prolonged high anxiety time. And KFC seemed like a catchy acronym. So, K, kindness. These days, we need every bit of kindness we can muster. Kindness is buoying us up. And the outpouring of kindness, creativity, and generosity has been truly remarkable. We've been awed by the orchestras, choirs, and dance troupes who've managed to perform as ensembles while each performer shelters in place. Closer to home, we find neighbors offering to shop for folks at higher risk, impromptu porch concerts and balcony sing-alongs, chalk art to make us smile, teddy bears and rainbows in windows. So much kindness. That said, perhaps the greatest kindness we can give one another is the F in KFC. Forgiveness. Grief and fear can make us short-tempered, cranky, emotional, extra sensitive. We snap at family and friends. We regress. Forgiveness may take some doing, particularly when we're each so easily triggered. But it seems more important than ever, since none of us are our best selves these days. Last week, I was yelled at by a coworker with whom I've always had a great relationship and whom I was actually trying to help at the time. I was caught completely off guard. I felt misunderstood, unfairly accused, angry, and on the verge of tears, which leads to the C. Compassion. Compassion can help with forgiveness. Compassion means to suffer with. Once I dusted off all the angry energy that had been splatted on me, I tried to put myself in my coworker's shoes. It was Friday afternoon, and she was feeling overwhelmed with all that needed to get done by the end of the day. My innocent phone call put her over the edge. Compassion is also helpful right now because we're inhabiting so many different realities. Some are sheltering in place. Others are essential workers. Some are enjoying extra family time. Others are going stir-crazy. Some are enjoying a slower pace, while others are busier than ever. Some are financially stable enough. Others can't pay the rent. The list goes on. All of our lives have been upended by this pandemic, and we're suffering in so many different ways. How do we open our hearts to one another when we're living so many different realities? Can we ask each other, what are you grieving? What are you grateful for? And then listen compassionately to the answers, not expecting them to match our own. And can we resist the urge to judge? I've been watching myself get judgy when I get scared. So I get judgy when I see people not wearing masks because their behavior puts me at risk. I try to remember that there may be good reasons I don't know about. Medical conditions, old trauma, hypersensitivities. So I try to be compassionate and keep my distance. I know that I've been talking as if practicing KFC is something we give to others. So I want to be clear that it's at least as important that we offer KFC to ourselves. Can we be extra kind to ourselves right now in these stressful times, remembering to do more of the things that lift our spirits? Can we forgive ourselves when we mess up, when we snap at someone who doesn't deserve it, when we don't make it through the to-do list that would be perfectly reasonable in ordinary times, when we spend the day in our pajamas? Can we forgive ourselves? Can we practice self-compassion, resisting the urge to get judgy with ourselves? Can we give ourselves a hug, literally, and say, "Sweetheart, I am so sorry you're suffering right now," which is what I did after my coworker yelled at me. Can we love ourselves exactly as we are? Now, I know that these spiritual practices are not always easy in the best of times, and these are certainly not the best of times. But I do believe that these three qualities, practiced imperfectly to the best of our abilities in each moment, will help us through the extended time of to be determined that lies ahead. KFC can help us grow spiritually, help us grow spiritual community, and make life more bearable, even joyful for ourselves and those around us. And so, my hope and prayer is that we continue to find creative and generous ways to care for ourselves and one another, practicing kindness, forgiveness, and compassion. May we love one another through this time of grief, gratitude, and uncertainty, remembering that we still have one another. We are not alone. May it be so. Amen.
I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. thanks to the waves upholding me. Hail the great winds urging me on. Greet the infinite sea before me. Sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms. Never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue
Dear ones, here on the rolling ocean, we may be far from a harbor or port, but the waves are upholding us. We make our way by the lights of the heavens as the great winds urge us on, and we do so together, beloved ship's companions. In these uncertain times, as you feel rocked by the waves, or seasick, or even tossed overboard, may you remember that you are not alone. We have each other for companionship and even for rescue. May we remember that we are all hurting in one way or another. May we honor each other's grief and gratitude. May we strive to be kind, forgiving, and compassionate to each other and to ourselves as we sail through the great unknown together here in our blue boat home. Amen.